Hey everyone, if you're diving into Silver and Blood, you're in for a treat. It's got that cool gothic vibe we all love, but it's not just about looking awesome. The real fun kicks in when you get to battles, and trust me, having the right vassals on your team can totally change the game. Whether you're just starting out or trying to level up your squad, knowing which vassals bring the best punch is key. So today, I'm breaking down the best vassals in Silver and Blood with a simple tier list to help you build a killer team. I'll walk you through who's worth investing in and who might just slow you down in battle. Let's get you set up to crush those fights and enjoy the game to the fullest. Ready? Let's jump right in. I'm quickly moving on to the video, and I'm ranking vassals in Silver and Blood. Before we start, if you enjoy these types of list videos, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Enjoy watching. The vassals in this tier are in order from top left to bottom right: Henry, William, and Iona. Alright, let's be real for a second. These C-rank vassals in Silver and Blood are kind of like the meh playlist of your gaming library. Not terrible, not amazing, just there. They won't blow your mind, but hey, sometimes you need those steady background players, right? Let's break down these average Joes who bring some flavor, even if it's more like mild salsa than hot sauce. First up, Henry. Think of Henry as your basic ranged attacker who shows up ready to shoot, but kinda forgot his superhero cape at home. His crowd control? Yeah, it's more like a polite, please slow down, than a full-on stop right there. He's okay to slot in the back row during those early stages when your squad is still warming up. But as the game cranks up the difficulty, Henry's impact fizzles out faster than a soda left open overnight. So if you're expecting fireworks, Henry's more like a sparkler on a rainy day. Next, we have William, the frontliner for beginners who just want someone to stand there and do damage without getting fancy. He's straightforward, no crazy combos, no flashy moves, just punch, punch, and maybe a punch or two more. That simplicity is actually kind of charming at first, but don't get too comfortable. William's lack of skill variety means he falls behind quicker than you can say, level up. Early game? Sure, he's your guy. Late game? You'll be looking for someone with a bit more spice. Then there's Iona, the team's healer and one of the Bloodborne faction members. Now, she's sweet and tries to keep your crew alive, but honestly, her healing feels a bit like putting a tiny band-aid on a broken leg. Early on, she's helpful, kind of like that friend who brings snacks to a party. Nice to have around, but not the life of it. As you progress and tougher enemies show up, Iona's weak abilities mean she's mostly just holding the spot until a stronger enchanter rolls into town and takes over the healing duties. So yeah, these C-rank vassals aren't exactly the star players you'll brag about to your friends, but they have their moments, mostly in the early game, when you're still figuring things out. They're the reliable, if unexciting backup dancers in the big Silver and Blood performance. If you want to survive the early chaos without too much fuss, Henry, William, and Iona will do the job. Just don't expect them to steal the spotlight later on. The vassals in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Clive, Baphomet, and Goldland. Let's talk about those B-rank vassals in Silver and Blood, the dependable middleweights who won't wow you with flashy moves, but also won't leave you hanging when the going gets tough. These guys strike a pretty good balance, making them perfect for beginners who want something solid, but still need to put in a bit of work to keep them relevant as the battles get fiercer. Starting with Clive, the assassin who's basically your team's sneaky ninja with a need for speed. Clive's all about quick strikes and darting around to mess with the enemy's plans. He fits snugly in the midline, pressuring key targets and creating openings for your heavier hitters. The catch? His punch starts feeling a bit light once you hit those late-game boss fights where raw power is king. Still, early on, Clive's sharp attacks make him a valuable asset for turning the tide. Then there's Baphomet, the classic reliable tank who's kind of like that dependable friend who's always got your back. Literally. He's tough enough to soak up damage and strong enough to dish out his own, holding the front line like a champ. Baphomet won't steal the spotlight from the elite, but for newbies building a solid front line, he's a rock-solid choice. His balanced offense and defense make him a steady presence that can save your skin more than once. Now, Goldland might not have the flashiest toolkit, but this ranged attacker adds a nice sprinkle of support while keeping pressure on enemies from afar. He's the kind of vassal that helps your team keep control early on without demanding too much fuss. Sure, he won't carry you through the toughest battles alone, but if you're working with a tight team budget or just want a reliable backline presence, Goldland's your guy. So yeah, B-rank vassals are the dependable squad members who aren't about the glory, but about getting the job done. With Clive's speed, Baphomet's toughness, and Goldlin's steady support, you've got a pretty decent setup for starting out in Silver and Blood. Just remember, as the game cranks up, you'll want to start thinking about upgrades, because these guys shine brightest when the fights are still warming up. The vassals in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Spectral, Gilrain, Darcias, and Lamine. Alright, now we're entering the A-rank territory in Silver and Blood. These vassals are no joke. They're like the trusted lieutenants of your squad, packing solid power and skills that get you serious results without quite reaching that mythical S-rank peak. If you want strength and reliability wrapped in one, these guys have got your back. First up, Spectral Gilrain. This guy is all about speed and precision, like a ghost ninja sneaking through the enemy lines. Thanks to his crazy agility, he darts in and out, targeting the biggest threats before they even realize what hit them. He's perfect chilling in the middle or back rows, where he can mess up the enemy's formation without getting roasted himself. If your team needs a clever assassin who's smart about when and where to strike, Gilrain's your man. Then we have Darcias, the sturdy warrior who doesn't shy away from the front lines. He's that reliable tank with a punch. Defense solid enough to take a beating, and offense strong enough to keep the enemy sweating. Darcias sticks around longer in fights thanks to his durable skills. So if your strategy calls for a rock-solid front line that doesn't sacrifice damage, he's a perfect fit. Last but definitely not least, Lamine brings some serious magic firepower from the backline. With a blood power rating of 17,846. Yeah, that's pretty impressive. Her area of effect spells can shred enemy groups and control their movement like a puppeteer. For Ancestors, teams looking to dominate the battlefield with both control and heavy damage, Lamine is a straight-up game changer. So yeah, A-rank vassals are those powerhouse players who bring strong skills and dependable performance without being over the top. Spectral Gilrain, Darcias, and Lamine each cover different roles, but together can make your team flexible and deadly. If you want to up your Silver and Blood game without jumping straight to the Elite S tier, these are the ones to watch. The vassals in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Joan, Agara's Covenant, and Transcendent Noah. Alright, now we've arrived at the big leagues, the S-rank vassals in Silver and Blood. These are the absolute cream of the crop, the heroes who bring the best stats, game-changing abilities, and the kind of power that can turn any fight in your favor. If you want to build a team that dominates, these are the ones you want front and center. Let's kick things off with Joan, the ultimate frontline warrior who's basically a tank and damage dealer all rolled into one. She can take hits like a pro, without batting an eye, and then retaliate with wide-range attacks that keep enemies on their toes. What makes Joan really special is her team-wide buffs. She boosts defense and offense for everyone, which means she's flexible enough to fit into almost any strategy. Whether you're holding the line or charging through tough battles, Joan's your go-to hero. Next up is Agara's Covenant, the dark magic maestro who's all about control and destruction. He excels at laying down massive area of effect damage and dropping debilitating debuffs that throw enemy formations into chaos. Agara's feels right at home in the mid or back row, especially when paired with Ancestors' faction allies. If you want to keep the enemy scrambling and on their heels, Agara's brings that sneaky, powerful presence to the fight. Then there's Transcendent Noah, who's basically a walking, talking powerhouse with some of the highest blood power stats in the entire game. With an attack power of 9,129, his ranged area of effect strikes and summoning skills make him a nightmare for foes trying to hold their ground. Noah's a core damage dealer for Ancestors faction teams, and when the pressure's on and every hit counts, he's the one you want raining devastation from the backline. So yeah, if you're aiming to build a legendary squad in Silver and Blood, these S-rank vassals, Joan, Agara's Covenant, and Transcendent Noah, are your best bets. They bring insane power, incredible utility, and the kind of presence that makes your enemies think twice before stepping onto the battlefield. Focus on these heroes, and you'll be crushing those late-game challenges like a pro in no time. The video ends here. See you in another video. Don't forget to subscribe.